All right, so you found yourself in a rut again. You got a long list of goals, and no matter how bad you think about them, no matter how badly you want them, and how badly you want to lock in and build the new you and the new life, you can't seem to get up. All your distractions and vices, you know how bad they are for you. You know they're taking away your power, yet you just can't get off your knees for them. Don't worry, I know how it is because I've been there plenty of times, and I know what you need. You need something that's gonna completely reset. You just need action. As you need to get the ball rolling as soon as possible. I got you. All you need to do is do exactly what I tell you in this video. I promise you, your rut will be over with instantly. All right, let's get into it. So, first things first, your mindset matters. Let's talk about dopamine real quick now. You probably know what dopamine is. You probably don't. Let me make it, you know what I'm saying, cookie cutter, bro science type shit. Dopamine is basically your hormone. It's basically a hormone. Think of it as a hormone for motivation. It's responsible for motivation, drive, and reward. So let's talk about why you're in this rut to begin with. Your brain likes to keep a balance between pain and pleasure. What happens anytime you do something that spikes your dopamine, so food, sex, drugs, social media, even achievement, right? Your dopamine goes up, but it has to balance it out by dropping it, not just to the baseline, but beneath the baseline. And so you will have a temporary state of feeling less motivated, less pleasurable afterwards, right? What happens when you keep indulging in these things, you're experiencing that crash lower and lower, more and more, until your baseline also starts to lower. So essentially your fundamental level of motivation, drive, sense of reward, and just general well-being all gets lower. You're in that state right now basically because you've been overdosing on whatever these vices may be for you. Instagram, scrolling, games, porn, who knows, right? And your brain has started to associate, or it's gotten addicted to all of these effortless pleasures, I'll say, right? Now, effort is the key word here. Why? Because this process also works the other way around. So whenever you intentionally exert effort, undergo pain, stress, things of that nature, your dopamine will drop beneath the baseline. You go down at first, but then it will shoot up above the baseline as the balance. Here's the fun part. You do that enough times, you do that frequently enough, your baseline will actually be high. Your baseline will be higher. Imagine your baseline level of motivation and drive being higher. How much more you would actually achieve in your life, how much more work you'll get done, how less you'll procrastinate. You can finally get consistent in the gym, on your business. We'll get into all of that, right? So what are some examples of things that, what would be some examples of these intentional efforts, right? It could be any, let's say you did an assignment or you did some chores. This is why things like making your bed or cleaning your room and shit like that, like they generate momentum, right? That momentum is essentially that dopamine aftermath of being higher. That's that sense of like, okay, yeah, I feel good, I want to do it again. That, kind of branches into the winner effect, but that's a different conversation, right? So now knowing this about dopamine, how can you use it? How can you use it? Well, the quickest and biggest boost that you can have to your dopamine, you need a quick fix, a quick turnaround just so you can start getting the ball rolling. Cold showers. Now hear me out. Cold showers, right? Why cold showers over the gym or meditation, journaling, or anything like that? Because those all do work, yes, but the gym takes a little bit longer to get there. It will. I'm not saying don't do these things by any means, but the gym takes a little bit longer. Same thing with journaling and meditation. They're a bit slower and more gradual. Cold showers shock your body into a survival mode. Your body sees the cold as a survival threat, and thus it will equip you with dopamine, with enough dopamine, enough motivation. Basically, if we think evolutionary, right? It'll equip you with enough dopamine not only to get out of the cold, but to prevent that from happening again. You know, so it turns out the boost you get from dopamine, or the boost in dopamine that you get from cold showers, they last for hours on end afterwards, right? And this boost is not small. The boost is anywhere from 200% to 300%. Imagine having 2 to 3 times more motivation than you do right now. I guarantee you, no matter how low you are, you're not going to be thinking about that when you're in a cold shower. It's literally going to delete all of that. And then the best part is once you're done, you feel amazing afterwards. Because you also get the sense of achievement. It's kind of like your body also sees that, like basically like you survived something that was threatening to your survival. So it's a bunch of other stuff that gets lifted aside from just dopamine. But all in all, you're going to feel great, and you're suddenly going to have just this sense of drive that not only just lasts for a few minutes, but like I said, it may even last the rest of the day, right? So the mindset matters, because earlier, notice I said intentional effort, right? Same thing even with pleasure. I said effortless pleasure. It's effortless pleasure. So something that lifts your dopamine with little to no effort at all. You're going to get that boost up, but you're going to get that crash. Junk food, porn, video games. List goes on, right? I know I keep saying those, but that just tends to be the easiest to say. List goes on. Effortless pleasure. Effortless pleasure, intentional pain, or intentional effort, however you want to say it. Intentional pain. Our brain and bodies respond differently to pain depending on our mindset behind it. I don't know if you've ever been in like marching band or any type of like ROTC or whatever, any type of organization or anything where you got disciplined by being made to do like some push-ups or something, for example, right? Have you ever noticed it feels worse to do those things whenever you're forced to do it? But on your own time, when you decided to do it on your own for your own benefit, you felt good afterwards. Not so much the case when it was a punishment. Same thing with cold shower. There are people who say, "Oh nah, I don't like cold showers," and I ask like, I couldn't do a cold shower. No, I'm not doing that shit. I asked, "Have you ever done it before?" And it was like, "Yeah, when my water wasn't working, like my hot water wasn't working." You were forced to do it. You didn't even have the knowledge that I'm equipping you with right now about cold showers. You didn't have that awareness. You perceived it as a negative thing, and thus your body responded negatively. You knowing this now, and this isn't just bullshit. I'm saying there's actual like research on this. I'm just explaining it in kind of like a bro science type of way, but you knowing this, I guarantee you, take the cold shower and realize the benefits of it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, before you step in, your brain is gonna come up with all the reasons not to do it. Like, do we really need to do this? I promise you, I can I have enough motivation for the day. It's probably not even no benefits for it. It's gonna say all of that. You do it anyway. Cause here's the kicker. This is the mindset I want you to leave with this. This applies across the board. The cold shower, I'm telling, this is the jump start. But after this, you want to keep that momentum going, because what will happen is your brain will start to associate pain, effort, stress intentionally. It'll start to associate that with pleasure, with reward, right? I want you to try it and see if this happens. So I recently just got myself out of a rut. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been in this depressive rut of not wanting to do shit time and time again. I had to get myself out time and time again. And I haven't implemented the cold shower in a long time, like years type shit. This is my first time bringing that shit back in years. And I did it recently. Since then, I've been completely locked in. Like, it literally was just night and day. I was fucked up. I did that shit. Now, granted, there are other things I did around that too, but the cold shower was the jump start to get all the other balls rolling, right? It puts, I want you to try it and see if this happens for you too. But what happens for me when I take cold showers, I get in this almost like fucking psychopathic, like this psychopath mindset of like I want more pain now. It might sound weird. It sounds strange as fuck, like damn near, but I'm literally like afterwards it's like, yeah, nigga, what what's next? Like I want more, like give me more type shit. Remember this saying as you're about to step in this cold shower. Lean into resistance. Steal its power. This describes the exchange that I mentioned at the beginning with that pain-pleasure balance. When you lean into pain, when you lean into that resistance, you gain its power afterwards. Make it your bitch. The cold shower is not going to kill you. It's just discomfort for a little bit. Lean into it. And after you do that, do the same thing with everything else in your life. Everything else that you've been running from. Everything else that you've been procrastinating on. I promise you, this cold shower will make that into nothing. Not even into nothing. You're going to want to do those things all of a sudden. Because deep down, you do want to do those things. You're an ambitious man. You have goals. You've been productive before, and you know deep down inside you actually feel better and more happy when you're consistently practicing those things. Lean into resistance, steal its power, hop in a cold shower, you know what to do. Stop being a bitch, get to work.